Good morning, everyone. It's Joker. We're here for one singular multi, the ticket multi that we got on the SHIZU'S banner. Just as a quick FYI, the social media tickets were for the normal recruit tickets, so we got those, I think, last night, and it's 10 tickets for this banner, not the SHIZU'S banner, so just be aware of that. We did get 10 tickets, they're just not the tickets that you want. But these are tickets we got from the event shop, from grinding the event, getting the event currency, trading them in, and now we already have a multi, of which I'm only going to do the one, because we already have SHIZU, and I still have yet to do her showcase. But we're going to do it anyways, and we're going to get it on video, just in case something dumb happens. So let's get this out of the way. We don't need to do anything else. We already have her. Even from like the initial testing on the stream, I don't really think she's, like, that necessary for most teams. Like, she's cool for a lot of blue stacking teams, don't get me wrong. It's just that the value from her buff is not as much as you would get out of maybe another unit's buff. So, okay, well, we're getting another 5-star. I don't remember what her quote is. Alright, well, whatever. Here it is. Oh. Okay. Now I remember what her quote is. Okay, 30 pity and 2 copies. Good thing she's not really that useful, right? Yeah, okay. Well, that's, it's ironic, right? That the units that I don't like... Oh god, no. Okay. Okay. Oh, oh, I was really concerned. Space Rimuru. Alright. A unit that I haven't really seen lately, as far as getting him pulled. Not that I can use him, but... Okay, well. We have 3 multis and 3 5-stars? That's pretty good. 2 of them being the new unit? It's a good thing I recorded this, and we're not even done. We're not even done. Now we're done. Benimaru. Okay then. Well, that's ain't that something? Let's go feed her in and pad the video a little bit. All right, yeah, 30 pity, 2 SHIZU'S. Definitely don't need to go any deeper. So we will. Actually, you know what? I might make this the intro to her showcase video. That might be fun. Yes, that's what we'll do. We'll make this the intro to her showcase. So let's get her leveled up, and I'll just continue talking as to why I don't think she's that impressive overall. So, welcome to the SHIZU'S showcase. She is fire and physical. She's an adventurer, summer memories, and heart of a hero. Adventurer has a category, or has a force leader with Rimuru. Summer Memories and Heart of a Hero does not yet, so they're not that great of a team. She uses a fire lance, fire spear, whatever you want to call it, so if you have the old Christmas fire SHIZU, you can just take it off of her and put it on this summer SHIZU. Funnily enough, that every single fire SHIZU he has is physical. It just kind of works out like that. But she is a single target ult 490%, so no additional effect you get when ulting, it's just she has a little bit higher damage. Her first skill increases all allies' weakness strike by 60% for 2 turns, which is good. Buffs that last multiple turns that are like really powerful are good. However, weakness strike only applies if you have type advantage, or if you are on the force and you are getting that extra 60% damage buff, because then no matter what element you are, you're going to do that extra damage, so it counts as weakness damage. So, running the Konosuba team, Darkness, Aqua, Cosma, they all have type advantage against the Earth unit, even though they're not fire units. So what this skill does is it will increase the damage that those units will do against an Earth unit. It will further increase the damage that Megumin does because she is on the Force and she's fire, so she already has type advantage. So this extra 6% will just further increase that. But if you are not on a force category, or if you are and you're not on the force itself, so if I were to take Space Milim against an Earth enemy and I use this skill, nothing would happen. Because Milim does not have type advantage naturally, nor would she be on a force where it would give her type advantage. So it's limited to really pretty much your nukers or a full force team that guarantees that you will always have type advantage. And that's why it's not quite as powerful as you want it to be, because certainly you could put her on a blue focus team, no problem. But realistically, if no one on that team is type advantage except for one unit, it's only going to apply to that one unit. So, her second skill is a very, very good skill. It's like the Warrior's Mind Rimuru, so it takes a 1 alt orb and converts it into a blue. So if you have 5 blues and an alt, you use this skill, now you have 6 blues, which is really, really impactful because that allows you to get maximum protection gauge, maximum skill points, and maximum alt gauge back from sending a full hand of blues, rather than sending 5 blues or 5 blues and an alt, because that just does not give as much gauge overall than 6 blues. So this is a really, really important skill for blue-focused teams, which makes her really, really good on a lot of blue-focused teams. However, if you're looking for like maximum power damage, this skill actually is not as good as some other skills, and we will test that today to, show why I don't think she's absolutely necessary if you have other support options. But with that said, let's get started. First off, before we do that, her Valor trait nerfs orange gauge increase. It's crap. And her actual trait, 50% or more HP, increases her own Pierce power by 7%. She is a sub DPS on the Adventurer team, and you are getting Pierce from Aqua and extra Pierce power, so this does add on to it, so it's cool. But we're mainly nuking with Megumin, right? Not Shizu. So now let's get started. Alright, so thank God we have the Gazel boss being Earth, so we can actually use this in a proper setup and still, see realistic numbers on a stage that actually matters, right? So we'll bring Megumin in. We have a full 3 fire units up front. The new Shizu does not have the Awakened Spear. I still have it on the old Christmas Shizu. So 86. She's still doing more damage though, because she's an EX unit with a dupe. And she's attack growth, and I don't think this Shizu is attack growth. Alright, good. We got a perfect Megumin orb change hand right there. So we have Aqua, who's going to rush the ult for Megumin. And, normally I would call that not a great idea so early in the fight. But because now we have Shizu, we can hide the ult that Megumin's gonna get early, and then just keep sending blues. And that is the power of having one of those units on this team, is that you don't really need to worry until you have multiple units with ults. Then we have a problem. Because you can only swap 1. It doesn't swap 3, it doesn't swap 2, it only swaps 1. And if you have 2 units or 3 units on the field with ults, and you use a skill, it's going to be RNG on who gets the ult swapped out. But the weakness damage, because it lasts for 2 turns, you don't need to have super duper maximum points on the nuke turn. You could use it early. You'll do extra damage that turn, so realistically you'd have to gauge whether or not you can afford that extra damage or not. But so right here we have a good hand, right? So we have a Megumin ult, we have 2 green orbs, so we could take after we use the ult force here with Aqua, so good. Now we'll swap Cosma in for Aqua. We'll have a full hand right here. So now we have 5 blues and an ult. That is not going to get you as much gauge as you want it to, right? It'll still get you very, very close. It'll get you max points, but it doesn't actually get you that last little bit of protection gauge. So the power here is that we take this ult orb and turn it into a blue, which means that when we send 6 blues, we do get the maximum power. We get max points. We get maximum ult gauge for everybody that has orbs. And this is the power of having one of these ult swap units on a stacking team. Rimuru had it, it was really good. The Shizu has it, it's really good. It makes a lot of sense. Now here is where you can run into some issues, because now we have 2 units with an ult. And it's going to 50-50 between taking away the Shizu ult or the Megumin ult. So let's go ahead and use it, and it takes Megumin's ult, which is good. That's what we wanted it to do, because the Shizu ult doesn't matter, because we're not trying to nuke with her, we're just trying to use her for utility and support more than anything. So now we can, well, you know what, that's not a great hand anyways. Because we can use the Cosma and Megumin Orb Change, but if we swap Shizu out, that's another orange coming in. So I think we will do it anyways, and then we'll just kind of have to live with that. Okay, yeah, and then you go away. And then we can use the last little bit of skill points to get Megumin's EX ult next turn. Perfect. And then we'll do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how many points do we need to nuke here? 8, 16, 24... 350 points. 350 to do the full nuke, because the new Shizu only costs 55, which is nice. It's a 60% buff that only costs 55 points, so that's pretty good. Alright, and here is another example of where we can't really use it that efficiently, but we don't need to because Megumin has an ult now. So let's do this, change those, and then we'll bring the Shizu in. And we still have 2 oranges, which we're just going to use these oranges. Pray to God that we can get a good hand next turn. Okay. That works out. Kind of. Not really. Never mind. We don't have enough points. We need 350. And we're only at 340. Damn. We messed up a little bit. Okay. Well, did we mess up, though? Did we mess up, though? Can we get enough points back? No, we can't. Alright, so we'll be back when we can actually nuke fully. Okay, we're on turn 7. We have the EX ult. We're ready to go. We've got more than enough points now. Now, this is where you have to make a conscious decision, though, with Shizu. Because it lasts for 2 turns, if you maybe didn't have quite enough skill points, you could use her buff now, right? And it'll last this turn and the next turn. And that'll allow you to get, more points back if you were able to send more blues. However, with his amount of HP left, you will probably actually end up killing him if you send a full hand of blues. So, you don't really want to use her skill now, because you don't want to kill now, because you're going to kill with normal orbs. You want to kill with the big old nuke, which we could nuke here. I don't think there's any difference in defense right now that he gets, so we might as well. Instead of pushing to turn 8, which is, the true, nuke turn, because none of these buffs are leaving next turn. So we'll go ahead and nuke now. So we'll do the alt buff, this buff, and then we'll have enough for the 2 buffs in the back from Shizu and Aqua. And then we'll see how much damage we do, because based on the Jubilee video that I've already put out, we saw that this team, but with Violet instead, did 3-something million damage. I'll have to look up the exact number in a bit. But we did a lot of damage, and it got me my highest score. So here, we're going to find out if that will do more or less. And I'm fairly certain it's going to do less. Let's, how much health do you have? 56. Let's send these 2, and then we'll send this. Actually, you know what? Let's just send the 1 Cosma, because I think he's been up here the entire time. We could have sent more. Oh well. And Megumin ends up doing... We'll watch her animation. It's the first time today. So if we do over 3 million, it's really good. But I highly, highly doubt that she will do over 3 million. We have 9 stacks of Rimuru, and she does 2.3. 2.3 million damage. Let me find... Because obviously we have the channel. Let me go find my Jubilee video. And not listen to myself. And let's go see Boss Battle 2 with the full meta. And how much damage we do there. So turn 8. This is the full buff. And Megumin is gonna do... 3.1. Yeah. So we did 3.1 there with the team, and instead of running Shizu, we ran Violet. Otherwise, it was the same exact thing. So the only extra thing we've got going for us is that 55% ult resistance down debuff that's right here. Everything else was the same, but it's like 800,000-ish damage less than running Violet, which is not what you really want to see out of a new summonable premium unit. And people will say, well, Joker, the skill is only a 55-point skill rather than an 80-point skill. And to that I say, yes, that's very true. However, the 80-point skill is because it's doing double duty, right? It's giving crit damage and lowering ult resistance. We're not getting the benefit of crit damage here because Megumin is not physical, and you don't want to crit this stage. So it's only doing the 55% ult resistance down, which, math, 55% is less than 60%. And while they are calculated differently, you would expect a brand new EX unit to at least match that damage potential. But instead we do 750, 800,000 damage less, running the full meta rather than bringing a type disadvantage unit. Which, there's my concern with the Shizu. She's really good utility for any stacking blue team, because you can swap the ult out, you can continue sending blue orbs, you'll increase the damage your nuker does against literally any boss, because if you build the team right, you should have at least one unit that has type advantage, and you will do more damage. However, maybe not the most necessary unit, because we still got that score without having the ult swap ability, without having the weakness damage, and we got much higher. And more stacks, actually. I think if I remember correctly, did we get more stacks? Yeah, we got one extra stack there. So it's a funny thing how the game works. This is why my opinion on Shizu is not the greatest. She's not a bad unit. Don't get me wrong. Not a bad unit. Very generalized, just like the rest of the adventure meta. You can put Cosmo on any blue team. You could put Megumin on any blue team. You could put Aqua on almost any team, realistically. You could put Shizu on any blue team. They're very generic, and that's really, really good for new players, players who don't have a lot of options, because you can put them multiple teams, multiple benefits. They're not limited to like one force like some of the other units. They're not limited to just physical teams or just magic teams. They're very generalized. But she is not contributing nearly as much damage support as a three-month-old unit, which, gacha games, 3 months is a long time. Units disappear after 1 month sometimes, so 3 months is saying something. That is why my opinion on Shizu is not the greatest. Still a good unit, just not as much damage as you think she would do. But now let's do some more science to really, really compare how much more effective this buff is versus other things. Okay, so for the first science test, we're going to use Megumin's EX ult with the fire buff from the Christmas Shizu, but not with the fire resistance down from her skill fusion. So this is like you just pulled Santa Shizu, you're going to get the 50% fire attack right here, but you don't have her at level 100, so you don't have the 30% fire resistance down that you could have. So we've got 3 stacks of pierce resistance. We've got not a lot of stacks of Rimuru, but we're going to test how much damage we do with just the 50% fire buff, and then Aqua, Cosmo, and Megumin's buffs, not the extra weakness damage, and we'll see how much damage we do here, and then we'll come back and we'll do it without the 50% fire buff, and we'll instead use the weakness damage buff from the new Shizu and see which one does more. So here, Megumin does 1.6 million. Okay, that's good to know, 1.6, so now we'll come back and we'll use the weakness damage buff instead of fire, and we'll see if we can hit 1.6 again. Alright, we are back, the same amount of stacks, we have the same amount of pierce resistance down, 15% on Gazel, and then this time, instead of the fire attack 50%, we're getting the weakness strike 60% here. And I believe it was 1.6 million we did last time, so let's see how much we do here. 1.4. 1.4 million. Everything else was the same exact team, same exact stats, charms, everything, debuffs, buffs. The only difference was the 50% fire buff versus the 60% weakness damage buff, and it's less than a 50% element buff. That is crazy in not a good way. Like, it's not that much lower, no. Like, if you're not trying to do, like, big sweaty stuff in Jubilee, 1.4 million is enough damage to kill pretty much anything in the game, even at full HP. So, is it really nitpicking? Kind of, yes. But when you get a unit that's meant to do big damage and help support units that do big damage, having the new EX unit come out that's premium and summonable and only the only unit on a banner, I would expect it to do equal, if not higher damage, because that's what gacha games is. It's constant power creep. The new unit should be better than the last, and that unit should be better than the last. That way, you know, OG units from almost 2 years ago are not quite as powerful as new summonable units today. Sometimes that doesn't really happen in gacha games. The Hero 1.0 is still here. But, like, that is not a good showing. Less than an element 50% attack buff, less than a 55% alt resistance down. These are 50% element buffs are not new. They are not new. So if we were to take this same unit and put it on, like, the light team with Leon, the 50% Leon light Leon buff, it would, in theory, do less than Leon's buff. And I think we'll test that out in a separate video, because I really want this video showcasing her on this team, comparing the damage between this team. I'm going to do a part 2 showcase where I take her onto a number of other teams that are not the adventurer category, trying to get the weakness damage out of them. But that is not a good showing. I like her animations, I like her outfit. Yeah, I like her animations a lot. But the unit itself seems unnecessary when she's doing less damage than some Santa Shizu, or in, you know, certain circumstances, maybe Water Shion, or Light Leon, or any of the other units that have a 50% type element buff. That's just not a good look for a new unit. So let me figure out if we can do something else and compare it even further. Okay, I think for the last part of this video, just going over the science testing and damage testing, we're going to use Shizu with Guy's alt buff, because Megumin gives herself a 25% magic attack buff. I want to see how much damage difference there is between having still the 80% alt damage buff and the weakness damage, but without the extra 25% magic attack. So let's go ahead and use this. Let's use Guy's. The crit doesn't matter because it's not going to go onto Megumin because she's not physical. So now we have the 80%. We have the same amount of stacks. We still have the 15% pierce resistance down. We just don't have the 25% magic attack. So attack, pierce rate, pierce power, just straight up attack, weakness, strike. Alright, we did 1.4 million with Megumin and Shizu. So do we hit, what are we going to hit now? We're going to hit less, obviously, but how much less? 1.1 million. So 25% magic attack is about 300% or 300k damage. That is definitely something right there. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know what we get out of this test. Let's come back one more time and do one more science run, because I want to test it not using ults. I want just a full hand of somebody with, you know, the resistance up. Okay, for the very last part of the video, I want to see how much additional damage we do with normal orbs versus, like, with the Aqua, Cosma, and Megumin buffs versus having all of that plus the Shizu buff as well. Since weakness damage does also apply to just your normal orbs, we should see at least a very decent increase in our damage output from sending 6 Megumin and then 6 Megumin with this. So we brought Shuna to ensure that we could do such a thing. So now we'll just steal those, we'll bring Megumin in, and then we will full buff her. But we will not use Shizu this turn. We'll just use these 3 buffs. So we've got the 25% magic damage since we're not ulting. we've got the pierce and pierce power, and then the attack and the defense down. So let's compare how much damage we do here versus how much damage we do when we add in that other buff. So we're currently sitting at 414,436 damage, and now we're going to do quite a bit. Quite a bit. So we're doing 44k a hit, and then the final hit does 90 something? 88.9. Okay, so now we're at minus what, 726? I don't remember what that number was. 726, 278. 278. 278. So that was an extra 311,000 damage that we did. Oh, well, that's quite a big jump. Okay, so there. So 311,842. Now let's come back and we'll see how much higher that number jumps when we add in the weakness damage buff. Alright, final test. We are going to full buff. We already have the weakness damage applied. That's this little human with a hole through him. That's the weakness damage right there. So we did... What did we do last time? We did about 44,000 damage a hit for a total of 311k additional damage on top of, that score. So now, with the extra weakness strike, how much higher does that go? Let's find out. I mean, I feel like it should be a lot. Normal orbs can benefit a lot from, a lot of attack buffs. So 44k a hit, and now we're doing 55k. So an extra 11,000 damage. 109 right there. Okay, let's hold on. What's the damage right there? So 610, 412, 610, 412. Okay, so then minus 610, 412, 361,000 damage. That's actually not in a huge amazing jump right there. Only an extra 11,000 damage per hit. I mean, it's good. It's good. It's just not, again, not as impressive as I would have liked it to be for a new EX unit. Okay, well, I think that's enough damage testing today. I know this isn't really like a good showcase of her because we only used her in a full battle once. But obviously she's meant to be used on multiple blue focus teams, so I will make a part 2 video showcasing her doing just that in a support role where the units may be a bit older and we can see if they benefit really heavily from the extra 60% weakness strike. So this is the science test. Full off-meta team testing will start in the next segment of the video series, I guess. But let me know what you guys think about Shizu initially, based on all this science and all these numbers. I think she's kind of mid for the damage buff, but really good for blue teams for the alt yoink. But let me know your thoughts. That's it for me. Take it easy, and I'll see you guys later.